Chance?
Have a background.
You like it?
Oh, I'll get that. Can you Oh, there I am.
Welcome to Dance Tips Daily. We have Chance here today. Thank you so much for joining us, Chance.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'm just so happy to have you as the first guest because obviously, you know, not only are we dance buddies, but we're best buddies. And so to have such a vulnerable situation, I am so grateful to have my best friend here supporting me. Not only is he just super, super talented, but he's an amazing human being. And I'm just really, really grateful that he's here to kick off such an awesome opportunity with us all. I'm really excited for this moment for us to connect whenever we have to be apart, and he's the perfect person to make you feel super warm and loved. So with that being said, Chance, for the people who don't know you or who haven't had the opportunity to feel your warm light, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle. My best friend, taking it back. Um, Actually, taking it back is kind of where my dance career started. When I first met you, we were in college and I had just started dancing. Um, I was learning the technique. I started late and, I was playing catch up my entire time in college. And then I went to a couple different dance conferences, ACDFA, I went to ADF, I went to Doug Barone Dance Intensive. And listen, my heart was full. And lucky for me, I was petrified. I was like, man, entering the dance world, I don't know what to expect. Uh, I started off not even knowing that I was going to be in the dance career, and here I am. I went to auditions and I started off dancing in the Chicago Repertory Ballet. From there, I went dancing for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, which turned me into an aerialist as well as a dancer, and now a vocalist with them as well. Then I went to New York City, where Danielle, you and we reconnected again.
Thank goodness.
Danced up there for XY Dance Company, several other different dance companies, STREB Extreme Action Dance Company, and currently I'm waiting for my current contract with Royal Caribbean as an aerialist, actually as the aerial coordinator for the Symphony of the Seas.
That's amazing. Obviously, you know, you have a lot under your belt and it's so versatile. And I think it's so ironic that you're saying I was playing catch up. Like, y'all, if you would see this man dance, he looks like he's been dancing like since he's been in the womb. So it's crazy that, you know, I think that's a very inspiring thing for other dancers to know that it doesn't matter what age you are. Of course, like, health has a lot to do with it, you know, and what our body will let us move through. But you're definitely an inspiration, not only to me, but I'm sure to a whole bunch of other people too. But aside from your dance stuff, tell us a little bit about you as a human. Like, how are you hanging in there right now? Like, especially with the given circumstances and situations.
Sure. That's a great question, and it's difficult for artists, especially right now. Not just dancers, but artists in general, and figuring out what we can do to stay afloat. And I keep telling everyone I run into, I keep saying, first of all, it's already a task, an accomplishment to be a dancer or be an artist in this world. But not only that, we have to do other things. We're not just dancers. We're not just artists. We have other jobs, and there aren't very many people that have other jobs. So I learned in college really quickly. Like I said, I was playing catch up, so I had to take ballet, modern, jazz, tap, choreography, ballroom, all of the above. So with that, you just learn like you've got to do something. And then when you get out into the world, like to make those ends meet so that you can still continue to pursue your art. Um, that's really what it's about. It's about that survival mode and being a beast and honing in on all the skills that you've learned in your art form and using those in the other worlds that you have. Currently, I am a baby imaging specialist for cranial technologies. It's a wonderful, wonderful job. And I think that I get to use my knowledge as a dancer and a performer that's really helping me, be this baby imaging
Mm-hmm.
specialist. Uh, every day on the job is a performance for me. I'm taking images for these delightful little babies coming in, and we're trying to get them um, treatment for their head shapes. And to get the image, I'm just dancing, I'm singing, and just like enjoying the stage that I get. And so it's really an awesome experience that I get to have, but my boss, they're just like, wow, it's a really great to have someone that understands that knowledge. And it's also something that makes me want to tell other dancers and artists. It's just like we are needed in these other positions that we don't even think
Mm-hmm.
to apply for because
Mm-hmm.
we're like, I don't know that I have the experience, but I did not have any experience before I became a baby imaging specialist, and here I am making that work.
I love that. So not only is that a story of complete grit and like a fighter, a warrior, which Chance definitely is. He's never not like sitting, and if he does chill, we chill hard. Like we watch some nice things together.
Oh, for sure.
But that's how it should be, right? I love that you mentioned. It kind of reminded me of the idea of like different costuming or different as dancers we have to be versatile. Like if we have to put on clothes that like we don't feel 100% confident in, you have to bring that character to the stage. So even
Mhm.
for people who might not be dancers and they're just like, how does that dancer just fill these shoes? It seems like that he's been doing this imaging specialist for years now, and I think it's like there's this confidence that comes from just being uncomfortable in so many
Yes.
different situations that like you're like, all right, I love how you said this is my stage for the day. And you're
Absolutely.
dancing and singing, and I'm sure the clients love and eat that up too. um
You just kind of bridged the gap for me. I didn't even think of it this way, but absolutely, as a dancer, like, I mean, way back in college when we used to put on dance concerts, we'd be in three numbers in the three pieces of choreography within the show, and you have to go off stage. You change out of one costume into the next, and you are a completely new person. And like that's what it is. Like you're just ready for it.
Totally. Hustle. And
Hmm.
dancers are obviously hard workers. Like outside of the room, you have to go home, you still have to condition, you have to rehearse the memory of it. And sometimes I think people like just want to go to the job and like leave that at the job, like go home. So I'm
Hmm.
sure that they are very, very lucky to have you, Chance.
Oh,
And
thank
I'm so happy. I think that's a great message, especially for younger dancers too, is that having those side gigs are definitely good opportunities for you to save up for making your own stuff or to be able
to
to
go to
make
that dance conference
that.
that
Right,
you know.
right. And you never know who you're going to meet. Like from Chance doing his gig, which is a dream for him too. He's always wanted to work with the little babies, I know.
Sure.
And what perfect time now whenever dance is slowed down. So I love that he's really risen to the occasion and didn't sit back and pout that we're in the circumstances we are. He got out there and rolled his sleeves up and said, I'm going to dance on a different stage. And that's exactly what he's doing. And I'm so excited to see the future. You never know what connections you're going to make there. You don't know what baby photos you're taking pictures of that maybe you'll teach later on. I think that's
Exactly.
an awesome opportunity. It also reminds me of one of the side gigs I did in New York that I think since we're talking about this, is a good opportunity. I got hired as like a brand ambassador, something so simple,
Mm-hmm.
where you just like greet people and like make sure that they're following directions for which way to enter and exit the building. And I volunteered to stay on the shift a little bit longer, which most people are like, get me out of here, this is boring, get me out of here, this is boring. But I was like, oh, it's okay, I'll make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And so since I volunteered to stay a little bit longer, there was no one really there. I was like manning the floor by myself, womaning the floor by myself.
You gotta
And
work.
right. And since it was downtime, I was just going over choreography that I'd teach within my class that week. And because I was like upbeat and dancing and moving, one of the managers of Spring Studios came over and like wanted to hire me right away. She's like, you've just been dancing and having fun all night. Like, I'd love for you to be on our team. And from that gig, I was able to work Fashion Week, which usually you have to pay like $3,000 to get into. And, you know, like obviously this brand ambassador gig was like only like, I don't know, like little money per hour,
Mhm.
but regardless,
But look at the opportunity that it presented you.
right. And shout out to Charlie of Funny Face Today. He was the one who
Mhm.
hooked me up with that opportunity. So I was really, really thankful for that. But, you know, one thing led to the next. And even though it's not a dance gig per se, like there's still a part of the dance that's within you wherever you go that people love to see that shine. And so I know you're
Absolutely.
taking that with you, especially through these dark times too. So kudos to you, Chance.
And kudos to you.
Thanks. We all need a best friend like Chance, guys. Just hyping each other up.
Always, always hype each other up.
So I know you also talked about this a little bit. You said you joined dance late and it was in college, but can you get into a little bit more specific for what it was that, was it a specific dance like class that you saw, or what was it specifically that you were, or the moment when you were like, okay, this is dance is what I'm going to pursue, or when that light bulb went off and you're like, oh, what's
Sure, sure. Uh, it's a really quite the interesting story.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I was one of those kids where I was like, "Hmm, I'm not really concerned about going to college. I'm gonna go because my parents want me to go. It was just not my thing. I think I'd rather have joined the military at that point in time and not pursued college, or maybe pursued college at a later date. So I kind of went into college not really knowing what I necessarily wanted to do. I had joined the child care and guidance program. I'd done some family studies programs, which is kind of a cool connection between you and I. Um, and so I was just kind of doing a lot of different things. And my roommate, Mr. Jojo Ramos, he
Woo!
was in the musical theater department. And the musical theater department, they were having an open house, and I had never been to an open house, and none of my programs were having an open house. I was like, let's go to the open house. Like, if you don't go, if I go, will you go? Because he was just saying he didn't want to go. And so he was like, yes, if you go, I'll go. So we went, and I'll never forget. I was so petrified because they were like, who likes to dance? And I was like, oh, I like to dance. Just raised my hand, like not knowing what they meant. They pulled me into the green room. My first time in the green room I didn't even know what it was called at that point in time. Now I know, but
You're
they
like, why
pulled
isn't
me.
it really green?
Right, precisely. Like, why are we calling this the green room? It's pitch black. Like, what's going on? So the dance instructors at the time, they pulled me in there and they were just like, so come to class. And I was like, okay, which was kind of cool. I got a free class out of it, you know? Um,
Amazing.
so I went to class the next morning, Danielle, the next morning. At what time was it? It was the earliest class I'd had in college because I didn't schedule my class, I didn't schedule myself for any early classes. It was jazz class with Hillary Peterson at
Mm-hmm.
8 a.m.
And she won't go easy on you, even if it is 8 a.m.
Right? I was like, okay. She put me in the class, and I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and go. And I went the next day, um, and I literally was the definition of what not to do in class. regarding my attire. I
Why did
wasn't
you say
wearing
that?
anything that was form fitting. Like I wasn't prepared for any kind of dancing. I was just like, I'm just gonna have a good time. And they were just calling out all these French phrases and words, and I was just like, "What is going on?" And honestly, throughout that class period, I was thinking to myself, like, "Yeah, I'm never coming back here again." And at the end of class, Hillary, I'll never forget it.
Uh-huh.
The class, everybody's like running out, and I'm like, well, I better hurry, I better get out of here. And
Yeah.
she was like, Chance, Chance, Chance. She caught me
Uh-huh.
before I could leave, and she was like, I know it's a lot, but you have a lot of potential. Please don't go. And I was just like, what? And it was like
Mhm.
within a career, within a art form, within any kind of study in
Mhm.
school, you just don't really hear that from your professor. And I was just like, okay, like that feedback was so immediate.
Yeah.
And it comes from any dance teacher, any like just that's just the dance world in general. That's just how we are with each other. And
Totally.
I went back. I was like, I will definitely come back. And it was that moment that I was like, okay, I'll try this and I'll keep trying it. And the more that I kept doing it, like the amount of love that I kept falling in love with, it was just phenomenal. It kept getting back to me what I thought that I was missing from not wanting to go to college.
I love that. And it's a big compliment, especially coming from Hillary. She's like no nonsense. She wouldn't tell you something just to blow smoke up your booty. Like,
Oh
she's
yeah.
one of those very detail oriented teachers. Like, I think one of the notes I got from her, I still have my notebooks from our modern journal.
Aw.
Like, Danielle, do you know you're crunching your toes? Like, I would have trouble with dropping my pelvis. So, like, I'd put tension in my toes, and I'm like, oh my God, how did, like, it's so small. But that Hillary Peterson
Right.
from Southeast Missouri State, y'all, like, it's really attentive teachers like that who care not only about your movement, but the person inside. And, you know,
Absolutely.
I'm sure, I wish I could show y'all a video of Chance dancing right now. Even whenever he wasn't trained, like the light that you hear in his voice and like see if you're watching from YouTube, he is just truly a star. So I'm
Aw.
happy that she saw that earlier, because I mean, I'm sure our paths would have been realigned in some way, but especially with our family studies. But with dance, we had a lot of opportunities, even though we both travel so often, that we always end up in the same area.
Me too. It's crazy.
Um, and then I did have another question while you were saying that. You were saying midway through class that you weren't going to come back to dance. And why was that? Were you just having like doubts, or you were
Oh,
feeling uncomfortable that you didn't understand, or what was it?
well, I'm a Capricorn, and Capricorns, we thrive on being successful at whatever we do.
Mhm,
And dance
mhm.
is one of those things that we are striving for perfection, as I believe Nietzsche would say. And I I just felt like I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't even understand the language, and I was just like, man, like I'm falling out of everything. We happened to be doing six-step pirouette that day. I know what that is now.
Really?
I didn't know what that was that day, and I just was like, I'm falling out of this. I don't know what's going on. I'm wearing the wrong clothes. Like maybe I'm just in the wrong place. Like, and this is fun to try, but maybe it's not for me. And and even the next couple of classes, I was like, this is still hard. Like I'm still not getting it. Like I don't know how to explain,
Mhm.
but I feel, and I had a lot of catching up to do because I had most of the kids that I was in class with, they had auditioned for the program. They had been dancing all their lives, and I was just like, what? How am I going to be able to keep up with this? I was looking at the end goal, and I was just like, man, that's a far way away.
Little did you know how
Right?
successful that route would be for you.
Hmm.
With that being said, so you've had, like, your initial experience was within the college dance form. how would you say your experience was dancing outside of the college, our nice little home? And do you think that it's necessary for dancers to train in college?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think that if you're talented, you're talented. And I think that you can get your training from somewhere. Now, that's to say, I do think that you need training. I think that we all need training as dancers. And I think that even those that are the Misty Copelands of the world still need training. That's not to say that she is not this beautiful, stunning, prima ballerina, but I'm sure she's up in technique class like, man, can I get on my leg, you know?
Sure, sure.
um, so I don't know that college is a necessary thing, but I think training is. Now, what I would say is that training at the collegiate level was so beneficial to me. And especially with the program that we had at Southeast Missouri State University, where I wasn't just doing one subject. I got to do ballet, modern, jazz, tap. We brought in several different choreographers from around the United States that just had various different styles, contemporary, hip hop. So I was just getting so much knowledge while I was in college that maybe I would not have received if I weren't in college, and especially in that program. So I will say that it was very advantageous for me to be in college, especially at the time that I was, because I had no training prior.
Mm-hmm.
And then after college, like I said, I didn't know what this career was going to be, because I didn't even know it was going to be a career. But I was very lucky that I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take every audition I can. I started taking auditions as just another way for me to go to dance class. And that boosted my confidence. So then, like,
And where were you doing these auditions at? Were you in a bigger city or did you travel?
So this point in time, I was in Chicago. So we went to school at Southeast Missouri State in the lower portion of Missouri. So I drove up to Chicago, and I just was like, you know, Chance, just go here for a week and just audition for whatever you can. So I just went up there. I took class at, oh my gosh, I took class at Hubbard Street.
I know.
Took class at Hubbard Street, and I was just like, I'm just gonna take the auditions as they come and like just go for it. And I did, and I remember going to this one audition. I believe it was River North at the time, and I just was so overwhelmed because there were like 300 people there. I'd never seen that many people before, and I was just like, ooh. But you know what? That audition made me be like, well, this is great. Like, I'm getting to see all these other dancers, and like, we're in here, and we're about to share our love. And so I just kept thinking that, like, share your love, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. And then I went to the Chicago Repertory Ballet audition, and I hit my first quadruple pirouette in an audition. And I heard the artistic director, Wade Schaub. I heard him from across the room, and he was like, okay, where'd that come from? And I was just like, now you're there, Chance. Like, this is what you've come for. Like, now you're not concerned with what these people are thinking. You just living your truth. And so I was fortunate enough that was my first project. I met so many really, really cool people. And you know what? I was probably the youngest on in the company at that point in time. And I remember we had a gala to go to, and I was selected to go to the gala as one of the members to represent the Chicago Repertory Ballet. And one of the like the members at the gala, they specifically asked me a question on the panel. And I was just like, I didn't even know you knew my name. They asked me, they were like, so how is it like being so young and keeping up with these seasoned dancers? And I was just like, that is a great question, sir. Like, I'm so happy you asked me that because, I wonder the same thing because it is, I'm learning so much from them. I was like, I told him at this point in time, I said, I literally just stepped out of college, and to be up here is not, it's not a what it is, it's a treat for me. I'm getting this experience from these people, and they are phenomenal dancers and choreographers, and they're hooking me up with connections that I can use in all the places that I'll go in life. And the artistic director, again, he gets on the microphone and he was like, I did not know that you just started dancing. I just knew that you were talented. And I was just like, wow, like this world that we have, dance just keeps giving back,
I love that. So would you say Chicago Repertory was your first gig outside of college, right?
It was Chicago Repertory Ballet.
And how long did it take before you booked with them?
I graduated. We graduated.
Yes, we did. Started the tradition together.
In December of 2012. And I auditioned around through January, once everything opened back up after breaks from that Christmas break and that holiday break. So January, and then I auditioned, I went up to some more auditions in February. And at the end of March is when I auditioned for the Chicago Repertory Ballet, and I believe I started working there in April.
Man.
So it took me about 3 months.
Got straight to business.
I was on the grind.
I love that. With that being said, what would you say to dancers who are too afraid to go after dance dreams, especially right now, given the uncertain times?
Listen, it is all about the climb. That's a song.
It's the climb.
Yes, it really is. I started from no dance technique, but I continued to climb the ladder of this dance world that we have. And along the way, I took some breaks. I stopped for some water. Don't forget your water bottles. And I met so many people that have the same ladders and are continuing to climb their ladders as well. And not only that, but like when I feel like I can't do it some more, they're there for me. And like yourself, like
Aww.
it's crazy that we met at such a pivotal point in both of our lives. You were changing schools and I was starting this career, and we've managed to stay bouncing from place to place and stay in contact, climbing our ladders wherever we are, but still always be connected. It's like those ladders at that you have at the library. They like have the wheels on the bottom and you can roll the ladder. Yes. It's like that. Like we move around, but I can be right next to you and I can hold your hand and you can hold my hand. We're gonna get up this ladder.
I love it. Do you remember when so Chance was casted to dance in Adrielle Bobel's music video? She had me choreograph, and she I've worked with Belle a lot, so we know each other well, but
love her.
yes, she's the best. Check out her music. She's releasing a new EP very, very soon. But I just remember her on set that day, like, or even within the rehearsal room, she'd just be like, you guys have so much chemistry. She was actually supposed to dance with you, and then she made me go in there. She's like,
yes. I remember that.
Right? And I think that's something to be said. Like, I think that that reads on camera, and it's just so much more enjoyable when you are genuinely nice and have a genuine relationship with the people that you're working with and
Mhm.
around. Um, that was one of my favorite music videos that we've ever done. And,
It
you know,
was so cool.
yes, Kyrie was like manning the camera. Like it wasn't a big production. I mean, it was a beautiful production, but I was like, yeah, I could do more of this. Like I like
Absolutely. It felt so like I felt so comfortable the entire time. Like
hmm
it was really, really fun.
definitely. And it was outdoors too. So that's like a really before we had to go outdoors. It's an
True.
uncontrolled circumstance and situation. And
That's so true.
yeah, it was good though.
Mhm.
That's good advice, Chance. Thanks for sharing that with them.
Of course.
Um, so a little bit more about you. How would you say that you're keeping yourself grounded and happy, both mentally and physically, especially now when it's all too easy? Like we're at home. You know, the news is less than pleasant to say the least.
Right?
Given the current climate of COVID, as well as the civil rights fight, as well as like all these black and white photos of women on Instagram.
It's something, right?
Yeah, can you tell us how have you been? Like, are you still happy? And are you keeping healthy, or do you have your moments, or how are you tackling all this?
For sure. It's it's about self-care right now. I think that I've really been just focusing on cooking every day, making myself something that I wouldn't normally have, focusing on my vegan diet, hashtag vegans, um, and doing the other things that I love to do, like getting into the healthcare field, not only in the baby imaging specialist job that I have, but also taking pharmacy and technician classes online and looking into the diagnostic sonography that I want to do, ultrasound technician, babies, I love babies. um, and just taking the moment to heal my body. I think sometimes I like to just keep it going and not slow down. So it's
Mhm.
been really nice to slow down and rest my hamstrings
Oh, yeah.
and stretch and like use this time not only as a mental awareness, but like a a body. I won't even say a body awareness, but I'll say a muscle awareness. Like, what muscles have I been utilizing that, or what have I not been utilizing that are weak? Like, how can I make them strong so that when this dance is full up and running again, my body is ready to go. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just been taking the time to focus on peace, really. And I think I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. I mean, look
But I
at
mean, it takes a lot for me to not be happy. But
this. I love that. So speaking of it, who or what do you think you get these traits from? You're always hardworking, and no matter what situation you're in, you have a good attitude. And you know, even if you need to take a second to like go home and have a whiny Wednesday it out situation, you're usually fine within 2 seconds. So, who or what do you think is an indicator or an influence on that?
I think it goes back to when I was in high school. My mom, she's an independent, hard worker. And
Yeah.
I just saw that when I was in high school. I saw it as because I was a little bit older. And at that point in time, she was a military police officer, and she was back and forth between the war and taking care of me and the home. I think that her hard work, really, you know, opened my eyes. And so while I was in high school, I I put myself in as much as I could. So I was in the National Honor Society. I was in student government. I was in all the sports. And when I wasn't in the sports, I was the manager of the sports. I was in the varsity club. I was in this. I was in that. I was just doing everything that I possibly could so that I could be a well-rounded human being. And so was she. And it wasn't until I went back to her mom's house, my grandmother's house, and like saw all the pictures, and sure enough, my mother was doing the same thing in high school. And so I guess my idea was that, well, if that's what it takes to be this powerful person that my mother is, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Nice. I love that. Do you think that she encouraged you to join all or get involved in all that you were, or did you seek that out on your own?
I don't think she necessarily encouraged me to do that. I think that I did seek that on my own. I think I just wanted to be like her. Now, just because she didn't encourage me didn't mean she let me quit.
That is funny. That's a good
She'd be
lesson.
like, "Well, you started it, so you're gonna finish that one."
Mhm. Your mom and my mom have a lot in common in that. I love that. And so, speaking of some tough love, what would you say one of your toughest lessons that you've learned from dances?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the challenge that we all face as dancers, is learning when to sit your little self down when you know you are hurt. I've been pretty fortunate throughout my dance career in that I've not been hurt too much, and I can't really think of a time that had a really serious injury. But there was this one time, you know, I might have stretched my hamstring just a little bit too far, and I just was like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine," instead of like stopping and like taking care of it right then and there. And I think that it still shows up to this day, that little problem down there. Of course,
Um,
I've learned to take better care and to really sit down. And we not young anymore, so you
right.
know I think that's probably that was my biggest challenge to this day.
That makes sense because you love to go, go, go. So it would seem, what do you think is so hard for you to just sit down? What do you think is hard for you to like just take a moment rather than,
Feeling it's that FOMO, fear of missing out, feeling like I'm not getting anything done, feeling like I'm not advancing my technique, feeling like I'm missing that audition. But you
mm-hmm,
know what? Where that audition is, there's gonna be another. Where
totally.
that dance class is, there's gonna be 20,000 more.
Right. They call it like caveman brain, right? Or monkey brain, whenever your mind just keeps swirling, you're like, no, 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 I need this, this, is this. So it's cool that
Mhm.
you can like identify. You're like, well, this is what it is.
It is what it is. I believe, oh, oh man, a dancer friend of mine,
Uh-huh.
he and we danced together, XY Dance Company. We were dance partners. Oh, she's the cutest little thing. She said to me one day, she was like, you know what? She's older than me. She
Hmm.
was like, when I come in here, I give you all that I can for what I have that day. And I was just like, that is so true. We don't need to be trying to give give more than we can. Now that doesn't mean I don't go 110%. It
Yeah,
just means like I'm giving my all. I don't need to push it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Were you partnering with her? Were you lifting her, or was it
I
ballroom?
was. She was my we were doing the pas de deux
Uh-huh.
for the big contemporary number in the show.
Nice. And I love that not only was she honest with you, but that's great communication skills. Like, I think a lot
Listen,
of times dancers were really, really good at communicating through motion and kinesthetics that Even I stumble over my words sometimes. So even doing this podcast is like a big thing for me because I'm like, oh, am I going to say the right thing? And perfectionism. But like for her to just stand up and be like, look, this is what it is. Like, and from the get-go to have a partner or even dance team member or just know what the expectation is or the boundary is, not the expectation, is like huge and can help like long-term issues be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for her. I love that.
Oh,
She goes, girl.
yeah.
So another thing, moving on to the positive things, what would you say one of your biggest blessings or rewards from dance is?
Oh, it's the it's the people. Like I because I bury myself in my work,
Mm-hmm.
it's often hard and we just had this conversation about communication. Like we're kinesthetic learners, and that's how we see the world and speak to the world. So it's oftentimes I'm pretty quiet and I'm like, I just mind my own self. Um, but I've met so many dancers that I'm still like, they're teaching me how to not only dance, but just the ropes of life. And I think I'm just so grateful for that. And like the fact that I've made such a good friend in you, like that is what it's all about. Like that, I mean, human companionship is I think it's such a big deal. And like, I made that through dance. So not only do we get to share this journey that we're on, but when we go on stage, we make it even more magical. This is just like what Belle said. Like, she's like, you guys have such good chemistry. It's because like of the connection that we make in life in general. And I know that I can like always say that with my dance friends. I mean, I think that's just a different relationship than even just a best friend or a friend. Like to have a dance friend. I don't know. It's a
Totally.
different.
There's something like so nostalgic, I feel like, too, about whenever you're doing moves that have been handed down from generation to generation, and then you're learning or experiencing or doing that same move with someone in the same room at the same time, at the same generation, with the same things happening. It's just like a really gelling experience.
Yes.
Um, and I love that you said earlier, you said something about like all coming together, and it reminds me of like dancers are dancers. Everyone says it's a small world. Dance world is small, but it's a diverse small world. Like there's a
Yes.
lot of like small communities and different fields where, I feel like you don't get as much um, uh, not that you don't get as much diversity, but there's like so much history packed into everyone's dance moves. If
For
like
sure.
someone learned their ballroom in Kazakhstan, there's like,
Yes.
the Spanish influence in there that is from a completely different part of the world, and everyone brings their own little flair to it. I think that's beautiful to have that much diversity on one stage.
Absolutely.
All right, Chance. And who is one of your favorite all-time choreographers? It can be past or present.
Forsyth.
Oh, I should have known. Who taught you about Forsyth?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. The duet with oh girl, what's her name? Oh my gosh, in between somewhat elevated. I
I
cannot.
can't think of it.
Gilliam.
Oh, Yuri?
You nuh-uh. Oh my gosh, I have to look it up.
Look it up. Look it up. Do you remember who first taught you about Forsyth?
Yes. Sylvie. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I couldn't think of her name.
Yeah, yeah.
Sylvie Gilliam. Dr. Strauss.
Hey.
Dr. Strauss in Principles of Was it dance history?
Or maybe it was principles dance. I don't know. It's been
One of the two.
yeah.
Either way, he was first person to talk about William Forsythe. He was like, everybody has to pick a choreographer, and you come back and report. And no one picked William Forsythe, but he was like, well, I want to tell you about William Forsythe. And so I then went home and researched William Forsythe. And then that summer, I went to the American Dance Festival, and they at the American Dance Festival they have like all these mock auditions, which are really really cool because you get to experience so many, like you just said, all the diversity within the community. You get to experience all of those, and one of the like, because you got like audition for different pieces that are going to be in the concert, but you also different audition for projects that are going to be happening at the conference. And I auditioned for the Forsyth project, of course, and I was able to do it. And so I got to learn a little bit more Forsyth, but I guess I was learning it with people that I'd never danced with before. So I still talk to those people to this day. And I just really love that technique. And then Sylvie, she is just one little fierce little being. So so fierce. So, and then I watched that duet that's in between Somewhat Elevated, and I was just obsessed. And then like my movement like just started to like go, just flow with that. It just fit with my body. And yeah.
What do you like most about his choreography? Is it the quality? Is it the way it feels, or the look, the lines, black
I
up?
think, I think it's a mixture of the way that it looks, but the way that it feels. Like I love the aesthetic of it. It looks so like, it just looks so weird is not the word. It doesn't look weird. It just
Unique for sure.
it's definitely, it's just, it's not your typical line. You're going past that line, and I just love that. I love that idea of going past what the line is, but like still keeping the line. I don't know. I think that's just so cool. And then it just feels so good. Like I feel like it just fits my body so well.
Nice. All right, and who, with on the same topic or a similar topic, who is one of your most influential teachers or most inspiring mentors, and why?
Of course, Miss Hillary Peterson. Wow, man. I mean, I just told you, she really pushed me to, help me become a dancer, because I didn't know that was gonna be. Her and Philip Edgecombe. I remember one summer, I was in town. We live in a small Cape Girardeau town for college, South Missouri State. And I remember she was like, hey, dancers, we are in town. So if you guys want to come to do some class with us, please do. And dance, no one showed up to that class, but I did.
Yes.
So I got a 1-on-2 session with Hillary and Philip. And I mean, it really just helped me like speed up the process of catching up. Because remember, I was still trying to catch up in college. And I remember I left for the American Dance Festival, and I came back 6 weeks. I came back and they were like, we didn't even recognize you're dancing. You're just a completely different dancer. It's amazing. And I mean, just the support from her, it really just helped me keep going.
I love that.
And like you said, she's so detail oriented. Hillary would be like, your eyelash is looking the wrong way. And you'd be like, oh my God, it totally is. She just knows what to say. Right. She helped me become a teacher, because I told her, I was like, I don't like teaching. And she was just, but listening to how she teaches. And I don't know. I could talk about Hillary all day.
I love that. We're gonna have her on the show too, so we'll have another
Absolutely.
opportunity down the road where we'll
Yeah.
talk all Hillary. So if anyone's interested in learning more about her, she really is a phenomenal human.
Oh, and uh, I was able to perform with her.
Oh,
Yes. So, um, Philip Edgecomb's,
the light bulbs.
yes,
Yes,
incandescent.
incandescents.
His
Yeah.
choreography, incandescent. First of all, I love it. It's a beautiful, stunning piece.
Mhm.
And it was the choreography was invited to I believe it was the St. Louis Dance Day,
Mhm.
I believe, and she performed it with us. And it was the first time I'd ever seen her outside of her teaching mode, and it was on stage with me. So I was just like blown away. Anyway,
I love that. I love it. So on the same note, actually, who's one of your favorite performers?
ooh,
It doesn't have to be dance. It can be any performer.
appreciate that. Hmm. Okay, so way back when, and Danielle, you actually took me. I was starstruck because I've always thought Misty Copeland.
That was your birthday gift right before you left for the cruise.
I've just always thought that she's just stunning, just a stunning person in general, but
Mm.
she's also this wonderful ballerina, but she just breaks the barrier. Like you just, I don't know. There's just something about her aesthetic that, and she has she looks like me. And it's just, I just feel like she just breaks so many molds. Her technique is so on point. When she talks, when she teaches, like I just feel so calm when she's teaching.
Totally. She handles
Um,
herself so eloquently, even if like there's some haters coming her way. I
mm,
feel like she can always address the situation in a calm and confident manner.
I think you just said it for me. It's the eloquence that she has, the poise that she has on and off the dance floor really brings her performance alive. So when she is performing, I'm just starstruck.
I love
The first time I saw her perform was her closing weekend of what is it?
on the
On the
town.
Town.
Mm-hmm.
And
We
I
ran
was
in
just
there right
like
before those doors shut. We
right
almost
before
didn't
they
get to that
shut.
show.
I was starstruck, and I'm still in awe every time I watch her perform. That's not to say there are not other beautiful dancers out there that I don't love,
For
but
sure.
I'm, I'm just obsessed with her.
You know what? Humble roots, Kansas City, baby. She's from the
Uh-huh.
or trained there. Um,
Listen, whew, Kansas City, that Kansas City Ballet, they don't play.
I love it. Okay, I know this is hard to do whenever envisioning a future is a little uncertain right now, but how do you see dance in your future? It can be long term, it can be next week, however you want to answer.
Well, I will for sure.
Oh, shoot.
I miss the air.
Yeah.
I'm, it's really difficult to dance in the air right now because
Mhm.
of the pandemic, so I haven't been able to do that. But I cannot wait to take the performance to the air and be dancing. And I love teaching aerial dance. I absolutely love that. So I can't wait to get back into that. For me, I'm looking forward to dancing in Hairspray and singing in Hairspray in the year to come, as well as Flight Dare to Dream. Excuse me. And then after that, I think it's back to teaching aerial and I want to be in a dance company in Atlanta. Like I want to experience that life and what that holds. But who knows?
Speak it into existence, baby. I'm here for it. Okay, so we're wrapping up. So you got to answer this question quickly. So you can't think about it too long. Are you ready?
Okay.
If you won $1 million today, what would you do with it?
Ah!
You.
I would buy an aerial studio slash dance studio slash gymnastic space, and I would have a house on the property, like my own home, so that I could just go to the studio. I could always be, present for my students or company or whoever I have. Oh my gosh, last night, I actually, oh my gosh, you were my dream last night. You and Kelsey, I was doing choreography, just randomly doing choreography
You
in my
booked
dream.
me? Yeah.
And Lachey, you enjoy.
Oh,
You,
nice.
Kelsey, Lachey, and Joy, you were all in my dream, and we were doing this piece, and I kept explaining to you, I was like, I know it's quirky, but just get your laughs out right now. And like, if I had $1 million, I would get this aerial dance studio that has a dance studio and aerial space plus gymnastics space plus I would want to have a dance company, and I would want us 5 to be dancing in this company, and I would have my house on the property.
True.
There we go.
I love it. The SEMO crew back together.
I know.
That's a good dream. Okay, and so I think I'm going to make a tradition of this. So within every interview, on the closing thing, within one sentence or word, we're going to drop the mic after you answer. What would you say to your haters?
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. I have a quote. I write down quotes. I'm going to give you my quote.
All right.
Okay, hold on. It's coming. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We aren't until we are.
Drop.
With the shoulder, with the choreography.
Okay.